One seniority number could be the difference between having a job and being furloughed. It could be the difference between being a captain and being a first officer.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, welcome to Ready for Pushback solo style today with me, Nick Fialka. I'm your host. If it's your first time, welcome. I'm stoked you're here. And if it's not your first time, well, I'm glad you're back. That's a great thing. I hope you told a friend and they're listening as well, and it's their first time. Today's topic is all about afterwards. After you get that conditional job offer, what can you expect? Well, first off, go have a great night. You're going to be so happy, so exhausted. You probably are going to be flying back to wherever you live because there's a high likelihood you don't live in the town where the company has a headquarters. But man, you just did a great thing. And I am super proud of you. So you probably are going to send me a text and a picture of your CJO in front of your pilot selection sign with the company logo on it and all that good stuff. And you're going to call the people important to you and tell them, and then go burn it down. Go have some fun. Don't burn down too much now. Don't get stupid. Maybe a little bit. But after that, it's time to get to work. Wake up, shake it off. It's time to get to work, because the speed at which you are able to be offensive in your pursuit of this company and provide them all of the information they need and hustle, the sooner you are going to be in class. And the sooner that you are in class, the sooner you have a seniority number. And the sooner you have a seniority number, the higher the likelihood of some kind of job security in what you're doing. Now, clearly, you never know what's going to happen, and you could get hired on the new September 11th of whatever. But hey, get that seniority number and get things moving, because it is vitally important. One seniority number could be the difference between having a job and being furloughed. It could be the difference between being a captain and being a first officer. It could be the difference between being on a wide body and being on a narrow body. The seniority number is important. So the faster you get this stuff done, the faster you're going to be in class. So the first thing that is likely to happen is emails. Emails start coming in, and you are going to have work to do. All the airlines do it slightly differently, but they follow a similar structure. They're going to do a background check. They're going to do a PREA request. They're going to do a drug test, fingerprints, and some extra information. So let's break those things down. Let's start with the background check. With the background check, you're going to need to provide your social. You're going to probably gain access to some third-party portal, and you're probably going to have to fill out a lot of personal information and verify that things are correct. Highly, highly, highly recommend that, first off, you were super open kimono in your interview. That way, anything weird that could pop up does and has, and you've already spoken about it. But if you haven't, it depends on what the company does and how the third party works to what they dig up, how far back they look, all those different things, what kind of records they're looking at. But you are going to have to provide a lot of information. Make sure you are honest, and it makes sure that it aligns with the information that you put on your application and provided during your interview. This is where the first set of people get weeded out. It happens in almost every single class. I cannot stress it enough. All right. No matter how uncomfortable you may be, you have to be honest on your application. If you have some kind of weird thing that's very unique that has to do with the law and you're not sure whether or not you should put it on your application, I'm not going to tell you to call me. I'm going to tell you to talk to your lawyer and talk to that person that can give you that real legal advice, because you certainly have to be able to be honest and straightforward with the company that you are being hired at. So talk to a lawyer, don't talk to me because I am definitely not a lawyer. Now, if you actually make it to class and they find out that there's something that you failed to disclose, you are done. And you can listen to a solo episode I have done in the past about talking about hard things. I have seen people get removed and terminated from companies because of failure to disclose. And that is a big deal. And once you are a failure to disclose and terminated, you are fired for cause. And that's pretty much the end of your journey in flying for the majors. There will likely be some opportunities in professional aviation, depending on how much they need people, but man, you gave up a great opportunity. So that's the background check. A lot of data to put in, a lot of portals to go to. Just make sure you have all your information so you can get it in there. The next is similar. It's your PREA paperwork. PREA stands for Pilot Records Improvement Act. And I actually looked that up because I just say PREA and there's all sorts of nuance about what it is. And here's the things I learned. So it helps describe it if you have never looked it up. The PREA is an interagency communication mechanism that involves three parties: the previous pilot's employers of the last 5 years, the FAA, and the National Drivers Registry. It's important to know that there is no such thing as PREA records, and there's nothing you can actually request. The PREA is merely like the protocol that air carriers must follow when they are hiring a pilot. So that's what I learned on the old internets when I looked it all up. And they tell you that the most important aspect of the pilot application and records and reports is honesty and transparency. Can you believe they say that when you are looking this stuff up? Recruiters understand that people make mistakes, right? But the problems show up when someone forgets to disclose a check ride failure or some kind of FAA action. Maybe you banged a plane up. Maybe you failed a drug test, something like that. There are lots of PREA reportable events. I do not pretend to know what all of them are, but honesty is always the best policy. Once the application is submitted, right, that becomes a legal document. And the hiring airline, they assume that everything is complete and everything is current and it's all accurate and they have nothing to worry about. So make sure you're doing it right. The goal of the airline that's hiring you is not to uncover every speeding ticket or every this or that or whatever, or failed check rides or any of that stuff, right? And find a way not to hire you. But what they are is looking out for trends and whether you have a history of doing the same thing that imposes more risk upon that company that is hiring you, that is taking a risk to say that you are going to perform well and succeed in training and be a great full up round on the line. Next, you're going to probably do some fingerprints and drug testing. A lot of airlines do fingerprints and drug testing on site, and that is something that they did away with during COVID and then kind of came back, and some places don't. Some have other vendors. When I got hired by my major, they had us do a fingerprint on site. They had like a little DMV kind of thing where they did fingerprints, but you also had to do a drug test, but that drug test was like at home and I had to schedule it at one of those like LabCorp places and go in and make sure if you have to do all of this, you're going to need ID and probably a couple different forms of it, and just know what the rules are ahead of time if you need to do this and you didn't get it done after your interview once you got the job offer. And then they're going to also ask for a bunch of extra stuff. I just mentioned having a driver's license. They're going to, you'll probably get asked 25 times for a copy of your driver's license. I don't know why, but every little department at a big airline always wants a copy of a driver's license. And the standard stuff, your FCC radio operator license, a copy of your medical certificate. Hey, if your medical certificate is getting ready to expire, go get another one so you can recheck that block, especially for you old guys and gals like me that need it every 6 months. Just go ahead and do it because it becomes a hassle. If you forget, like if you're a month out and you're going to be in class, you're not going to have time during indoc to go get a medical. Trust me, just go ahead and have it knocked out. So I said medical, pilot certificate, passport. Check your date on your passport. You don't want that thing expiring within 4 or 5 months. It takes a long time to get a new passport. If you need one, just do what you got to do to get one. If you have the opportunity to get it quickly, go ahead and pay for it. Costs a pretty penny. It's not fun, but get that thing done. You should probably have all this stuff scanned and in a folder where some hacker is not going to steal all of your data, but have it ready to go to send, because you're going to be uploading digital copies of this stuff all the time. You are also, once you're on campus, just a quick side note, you're going to need to provide birth certificates, wedding certificates, all those other things. And to have those things already scanned up makes it easier if you have a family or people that depend on you that you're going to give some sort of benefit for. That is going to be an important thing to have. You may even need their social security cards or whatever. Anyway, quick side note, extra bonus advice from me. And so you've got all these things, your license, your FCC, all those things organized and ready to go, ready to upload. And you've done all the background checks and stuff like that. And you've completed the PREA stuff. And now you're waiting. This is where you can get offensive. A lot of times you can be proactive and you can make sure, first off, there's no gaps. And once you submit everything, do a courtesy email to that company or the person that you're dealing with, the person that you're talking to. Find out if there's anything else they need. Be careful. You want to be in front of them, but you don't want to be some pest, some nerd, some jerk that no one likes. Don't become that person, but let them know, hey, I'm a real person, a considerate person, and I just wanted to make sure that you had everything you need and see if there were any gaps. That way I could just take care of it right now and not have to waste your time. And you sound like a nice person. You're the nicest girl they ever met. Way to go. Once everything's in their system and they've gone through it, you are going to be assigned a class date. And this is important to note about your class date. That class date could theoretically move if you were proactive. Every airline has people that don't show up. People, for one reason or another, they don't accept a class date. If you have flexibility when you can start a class, reach out and find out if there's a list for people that can start on a moment's notice. Be that person that leans forward and get on that list. The difference between starting this week and starting next week could be 75 or 100 people. So what does that mean? I talked about it. It's the difference between upgrading. It's the furlough. It's the holding the base you want to hold. It's the wide body versus the narrow body. It's the line versus reserve. It's all of those things. 75 people could make the difference. It could be all of it. All right. It could be the difference between keeping your family planted or having to move them and uproot their entire life. It could be the most important choice that you make in the 30 plus years that you're going to spend at that airline. The sooner you start, the more flexibility you will have in your entire career. So I can't stress how important that is. So all the things that you do after you have the CJO, they're all equally as important as the stuff you did before you got there. All the hard work that it took to get that job offer afterwards, put forth the same amount of effort to get the information so that you can get on property and get that seniority number. The most important word in CJO is conditional. It's a conditional job offer. Your job hinges on honesty and integrity. Be the person with integrity. Be the person who leans forward. Be that person that they are going to be pleased that they hired, and get out there and get yourself in class. And that's it. Let's go. Next episode is going to be an interview. And I hope you really enjoyed hearing me talk about what to do after you got your CJO. So, hey, congratulations. I'm stoked for you. Hey, before I let you go, I need to mention one thing because a lot of people are asking me, can you do anything? Can you help me with this? And the answer is yes. At Spitfire Elite, we will make more millionaires this year than Major League Baseball will make in the next 5 years. Our company actually does this. It's called Spitfire Elite Interview Consulting. And you can find us over at SpitfireElite.com. Our clients, they call us the easy button for interview prep because everything you need to crush your interview is there in one spot. Whether it's application review or interview prep, all of it is covered. We've helped thousands of clients who are now flying at their dream jobs because our coaches gave them the one-on-one feedback that they needed to succeed on the biggest day of their life. The best part of Spitfire is our community. All Spitfire clients will get access to our private chats where they can work with each other and they can work with our coaches and get the latest information on all the airlines. If you'd like to make sure that you are 100% ready to go on your big day, there is only one choice. Everything you need is in one place, and I think it's pretty affordable. You'll have to take a look for yourself. Just go over to SpitfireElite.com and check us out. Use the coupon code PODCAST and it'll save you 10%. And by the way, I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.